18 years. That's how long each one of these whiskies have been waiting to be enjoyed.
That's nearly 2 decades of patience, chemistry and craftsmanship.
And whilst age isn't everything in whiskey, there's something magical about what happens in those 18 years inside the cask.
Today, we're exploring 5 exceptional 18-year-old whiskies, from coastal classics to Japanese legends, and we've got options for every budget, from accessible to ultra-premium.
Let's talk about what happens during long-term whiskey maturation.
When whiskey first goes into the cask, it's a clear spirit, what we call new make. Everything else, the colour, many of the flavours, the complexity, it all comes from its time in the cask. Over time, the spirit moves in and out of the wood as the temperature changes. It's like the wood is breathing. This is what we call the active maturation process.
Now, during this time, several important things are happening. The alcohol is extracting compounds called lignins from the wood, which create vanilla and spice notes.
Meanwhile, tannins from the oak add structure and depth, while wood sugars caramelise to create those rich, sweet flavours.
One of the most fascinating processes is called esterification, and that's where acids and alcohol combine to create new flavour compounds. This can produce all sorts of fruit notes, from apple and pear to tropical fruits.
These processes happen at different rates. Some flavours develop quite quickly, while others need many years to emerge.
So why is 18 years such an interesting age for whiskey? It's a point where we often see these maturation processes really express themselves.
The spirit has had significant time to interact with the oak and develop complexity, while still maintaining its essential distillery character.
Which is exactly what we're going to see in these 5 exceptional 18-year-olds. Each one shows us something different about how nearly 2 decades in the cask can transform a whiskey. And what's particularly interesting is how each distillery's unique spirit character has evolved over those 18 years. Some becoming more refined, others more complex, but each one maintaining its essential identity.
Let's start with a whiskey that is truly outstanding for the price. The Jura 18-year-old red wine cask finish.
Now, Jura is quite a remarkable place. It's an island with one road, one pub, and over 5,000 deer. The distillery stands at the heart of this tiny community.
Their distinctive tall stills, among the tallest in Scotland, create a light, clean spirit character that's consistent through their range. This 18-year-old builds on that distinctive Jura style.
The journey of this whiskey starts in American white oak bourbon casks, where it develops its backbone of vanilla and toffee notes, whilst maintaining that essential Jura character.
But what's special about this whiskey is it's finished in red wine casks. This has a layer of summer berries and spice, while still allowing Jura's distinctive island character to shine through.
The result is a wonderfully balanced whiskey with notes of milky chocolate, berry fruits and subtle spices. It's complex without being overwhelming, and at only $78.95, it's exceptional value for an 18-year-old whiskey.
Moving up to our mid-range selections, we have 2 very different but equally impressive whiskies.
First of all, we've got the Talisker 18-year-old. Sitting on the shores of Loch Harport on the Isle of Skye, Talisker was the island's only distillery for over 180 years until Torrevey came along in 2017. The signature peppery smoke comes from carefully measured peat and those mineral-rich coastal waters.
This is coastal whiskey making at its finest. The extra aging has mellowed Talisker's famous maritime power into something truly elegant.
The smoke is more refined now, weaving between notes of orange peel and butterscotch.
Then we have the Glenrothes 18-year-old, taking us to the heart of Speyside. It's located in the town of Rothes, and this distillery is known for its distinctive round bottles and commitment to sherry cask maturation.
Now, with this 18-year-old, it showcases the sherry cask expertise perfectly. Use only sherry seasoned oak casks, with a high proportion being first fill.
This creates this beautiful tapestry of flavours, vanilla and orange at first, then warming ginger and subtle spices. The first fill casks provide rich, deep notes, while the refill casks add complexity.
It's fascinating to compare these two. You've got Talisker's coastal complexity versus Glenrothes' sherry-influenced richness. They showcase how different environments and cask choices can create equally impressive but totally different 18-year-old whiskies.
At £185 for the Talisker and $159.95 for the Glenrothes, these whiskies sit at what we'd consider the standard price point for quality 18-year-olds.
And when you think about it, that's less than £10 a year for nearly 2 decades of maturation, expert craftsmanship, and the patience required to create whiskies of this calibre.
Both offer exceptional value in their own way, whether you prefer Talisker's refined coastal complexity or Glenrothes' sherried richness. Now for our premium selections. Let's start with the Dalmore, a distillery that has been defining Highland luxury since 1839.
Situated on the shores of the Cromarty Firth, Dalmore is famous for the unique stills with flat tops. Now, these create a lighter spirit that's perfect for long aging.
Their master distiller, Richard Patterson, has been their nose for over 50 years, and his influence shows in their 18-year-old. They start with American white oak ex-bourbon casks, building that foundation of vanilla and citrus.
Now, after that comes extraordinary finishing Matusalem Oloroso sherry casks. These aren't just any sherry casks. Matusalem is a particularly rich style of Oloroso, and it brings these incredible notes of dark chocolate and coffee to the whiskey.
At £350, this sits in the premium category for 18-year-olds. While it's a significant investment, you're getting the benefit of both carefully selected bourbon casks and those specially chosen Matusalem sherry casks, along with nearly 2 decades of Highland expertise.
Now, with Dalmore's proven track record of long-aged whiskies, it delivers the luxury experience you expect at this price point.
And finally, we travel to Japan for the legendary Yamazaki 18-year-old. This comes from Japan's first whiskey distillery, founded in 1923, which sits at the foot of Mount Tenazan, where 3 rivers meet.
Now, this location was actually chosen specifically for its pure water and diverse climate, which creates unique aging conditions. Whilst they use traditional Scottish equipment, it's actually operated with legendary Japanese precision.
What makes their 18-year-old truly special is their use of Mizunara oak. This rare Japanese oak is incredibly difficult to work with. A Mizunara tree can grow for 200 years before it is large enough to make it into casks. Once felled, each tree will yield less timber than other species of oak. You'd get twice as much from a typical American oak, for example.
Now, Mizunara wood is also markedly porous, so casks made from it are apt to leak, losing more spirit each year on top of the expected loss to evaporation, the so-called angel share. But on the plus side, this porous nature means the whiskey can really soak deeper into the wood and pick up some more flavours.
But the results are extraordinary. Mizunara adds unique spicy notes of ginger and sandalwood that you simply won't find in any other whiskey.
Combined with their precise blend of ex-bourbon and sherry casks, you get this incredible complexity. You get dark chocolate, stewed fruits, incense-like spices, all in perfect balance.
At £650, the Yamazaki 18 sits firmly in the luxury category, but is also one of the few whiskies where you can taste the incredible cost and rarity of that Mizunara oak, combined with Japanese precision and patience. It's become a benchmark for ultra-premium aged whiskey, and for those lucky enough to try it, it's easy to understand why. Each of these whiskies shows us something different about what 18 years of maturation can achieve.
Now, like with the Jura here, it proves that great 18-year-old whiskies don't have to break the bank. The wine cask finish adds complexity without driving up the cost dramatically.
Talisker and Glenrothes show us how different regional styles develop with age, whether it's the refinement of island smoke or the deepening of Speyside fruit.
Whilst the Dalmore and Yamazaki demonstrate what happens when you combine extended aging with rare, expensive casks and meticulous production methods.
Whether you're just starting to explore aged whiskies or you're a seasoned collector, there's something here for everyone.
Whilst these are some of our favourites, there are many other wonderful 18-year-olds out there. The joy really is in exploring and finding out which one speaks to you.
And while these 18-year-old whiskies are incredible expressions, not everyone wants to start their collection with such premium bottles. That's why we've created a guide to building an amazing whiskey collection for under £200 you can watch here.
Now, after all, learning to appreciate younger whiskies is all part of the journey to understanding what makes these 18-year-olds so special.
Click here to discover 5 exceptional whiskies that won't break the bank, perfect for starting your whiskey journey.